So this is the overview of it. So, this week we're getting launched. There's no class on the 12th, and there's no class or next week. This week is a shortened week because of Bold starting in both of the market centers. So just be aware of that. But this is the schedule. If you don't have it, I can drop it in the chat, but it's also on the Experience Brokerage Network website, which if you're not familiar with, that's one of the things I'll be showing you today. All right. So today, really what we're going to focus on is walking you through kind of what you're going to be learning throughout Ignite. And then, like I said, getting you more into understanding KW and understanding your own goals and what you'll need to do in order to get to those goals. So this just kind of breaks it down and walks you through really how Ignite breaks down. And so Ignite starts out with 4 days of really learning about being the real estate expert of choice. Then it moves into lead generation, then into lead follow-up, and then into the transaction, because that's the logical progression of things. A lot of times agents want to jump to the transaction piece, and that's great. Like Lauda, you got a transaction right out the gate. So, the lead generation normally is what you need to do to get there. You got lucky that one popped quick and fast. But what's cool is by the end of the night, you really have all the foundational pieces that you need for your business. Truly, it's more training than most agents take in their entire career. So just know that, because a lot of times there's a fear of, I don't know enough. By the time you've gone through Ignite, you have the foundational tools that you need in order to go out and really be more educated than most of the agents in the market, which I know sometimes is a little scary. So again, this is just what I kind of walked you through in terms of the way it breaks down. But today we're focused on this first part of becoming the real estate expert. And then today, like I said, we're walking through a new way of thinking, which we're going to go through the 6 personal perspectives, KW culture, understanding the value of KW and the value. We won't talk as much at the market center level. We'll talk at the network level. Resources from KW, your career vision, which is more of that. What do you want to do in your business this year? What do you want to do in your business long term? Daily success systems, and then just recapping everything. Okay, so anyone can do it. Not everyone will. Will you? Quote from Gary Keller, and out of one of his books. So the question really is, will you? Because it is this business anyone can be successful in. So asking yourself that, what am I willing to do to succeed? So that's really what this is. So it's, everyone comes in thinking they're going to be successful, but what are you willing to do to succeed? I think also Ignite helps you understand better. This is what I need to do to succeed, because oftentimes it's like, yeah, I'm willing to do whatever, but I don't know what whatever is. Tell me and I'll do it. All right, 6 personal perspectives. So 6 personal perspectives. These were created by Gary Keller. They came out of Quantum Leap, which is a class that he developed that really is getting inside Gary Keller's mind, because what he did was go out and really say, what are the things that have created success in my world, and what are the things that people who are achieving at the highest level that they do? And that's where the 6 personal perspectives came from. And when you really embrace and understand these and work through them, they are incredibly powerful tools to use in your life and in your business. First one is commit to self-mastery. So self-mastery, we've got to know what your goals are, and then really understanding what your strengths and weaknesses are in relation to those goals, so that you can work with those strengths and weaknesses. You can either initially, you kind of have to shore them up yourself. And then as you grow in your business, you're able to add help to do that. But if you're not being honest about where am I at, what have I mastered, what do I still need to learn, where do I still need to grow, that's the commitment to self-mastery. It's a self-understanding and a self-awareness. And it's different than just commit to mastery, because this is about mastering yourself. And so that's a little bit different for everyone. It's really understanding who you are, not who you want to be or who you perceive yourself to be, but being comfortable in your own skin and knowing this is what I'm good at. This is where I need to grow. So question, where are you in that process? How committed are you to self-mastery, and how much do you feel like you really have a sound understanding of those pieces in terms of your goals, your strengths and your weaknesses, the knowledge you have, the knowledge you need? How are you feeling on that?
It's funny, this is my second time going through Ignite because I have a job as well. So I missed a lot of the other classes. And one of the things that I am noticing is that I have to work harder on this, on self-mastery.
Okay.
I don't like to follow through.
Okay.
I get off of work and I like to sit on the couch and just stay there.
Okay.
So these are things that I've recognized in myself, and now I'm having to learn how to counteract those. So,
but see, that's acknowledging and recognizing it and not judging, because that's the problem. A lot of times we acknowledge things that maybe aren't our strengths, and we judge ourselves on that. Acknowledging it and being able to say, hey, this is where I need some help. Then you can address it. When you kind of pretend like it's not there, then it just sort of festers and sits there. So I love that you're saying, hey, here's where I see myself kind of struggling, and I know I need to do those things. So that's really, and that's a lot when you're working full time and launching a real estate career. There's a period of time where it's just a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. So here's the thing, guys. I know, though, that you're committed to your self-mastery because you're sitting here. Like, truth be told, there are a bunch of other people that should be in this class today, either for their first time or retaking it, and they aren't. So that right there, give yourself a high five and a pat on the back for you're here, you're showing up, you're putting in the hours.
Well, and then tomorrow I'm going to the Bold orientation. So
very good. Very good. Loud is going too on Thursday when we have it here.
Nice.
So, well, apparently my computer just decided to jump ahead. So we are moving on to the 80-20 principle. Got a mind of its own today. Okay. So the second personal perspective is committing to the 80-20 principle. And this really is a powerful principle if you leverage it, because what it is saying is 20% of your actions lead to 80% of your results. So if you nail down the right 20%, you've already nailed 80% of what you need to do in your business. Now, the key is it's got to be the right 20%. What would you guess? We would say the number one 20% of your actions is.
Touches, like connecting with people.
Lead generation. Yeah. I jokingly say, and if you're around me, you'll hear it more than once, that lead generation solves everything. Like, you could give me almost any problem in the world, and I would be able to explain to you why lead generation actually solves it. Definitely in real estate, though. Don't have enough money? Lead gen. Don't like your clients, or clients are being flaky? Lead gen. More closings? Lead gen. No appointments? Lead gen. So that really is the 20%. The other things that would come in there really come into the after effects of lead gen. So it then is going on appointments, those things. Right now for you, being in your training is part of your 20% because you're learning. It's always in there in terms of something that's continuing to cause you to grow. But if you think right now, if you think I have three things, I need to learn, I need to lead gen, and I need to go on appointments, if those are your focus and that is where you like put blinders on to everything else, you're on the path to really maximizing your time for your results. So this is it's a crucial one. And we kind of initially tell you this is what your 20% is. Then as you evolve out, you've got to kind of hold the line on what is my 20%. Am I starting to veer away? And I'm moving more into that 80% of actions that only result in the 20% of results. One of the things that comes up with this also is oftentimes people think, well, it's 50-50, energy or work in same amount of results. And that's just not the case. We know for a fact, if you focus on these things, you get exponential results versus time in and results. So really focusing on those key things in your business. Any questions on that? All right. This one is my absolute favorite one because it's the one that's the hardest for me. And it's the one that I found after working with agents for years and years and years. It's the hardest one for most of us. So E2P is talking about going from an entrepreneurial approach to a purposeful approach. Entrepreneurial is more of our natural abilities. And a lot of us actually get into real estate initially because we want to be free and we want to do what we want and we don't want anyone telling us what to do and all of those things. So we're more focused on what's coming naturally to us. And some people can focus on what's coming natural to them to a really high level. And everyone has a level, that natural ceiling of achievement. And so, you see this on the entrepreneurial. They come up, boom, we hit that ceiling. We drop down, we drop down, we drop down. We may bop back up, but it's that kind of roller coaster and emotionally it feels that way. I'm so excited. I'm running on adrenaline. Life is great. Everything's coming together. Boom, I hit the ceiling. Now I'm going back down that path. So this is more about what do I do that's purposeful in that. And you'll see when we move over to the purposeful approach, it's about focus. It's about models and systems and breaking through that ceiling of achievement. Now, again, what I hear here from people sometimes is, yeah, but models and systems and all that's not fun. That's like going back and having a job. And what I'm going to say here is the more you focus and the faster you get your models and systems nailed down, then the more you've got freedom and flexibility. That's where you get the freedom and flexibility from. And that's where you buy your time back too. Using the models and systems is how you can do more business in less time. So when you catch yourself like wanting to be creative and inventive, now is not the time for that. After you've got the foundation laid and your systems and models are running and you've got a solid business, that's when you can play a little and test a little with things. That's when you can get more creative. If you want to get creative with your marketing flyers or something like that. And don't spend 8 hours doing a marketing flyer. That is not your 20%. So again, we're balancing here. What's my system? How does it fit into that 20%? So these all build on each other. Give me, one of you, give me a time when you feel like you went through kind of that, hitting that ceiling of achievement. Have you experienced it before?
So right before COVID, I started kind of doing my own cleaning business. I was cleaning houses and Airbnbs and stuff. And a lot of people were like, families that you're like, kind of, you're a lot nicer. You're like, to keep them, you go through a lot of things, like having your own business. And so now I see it like, I joined a friend and she was more focused models. She was like, nope, so we can't do them because we're going to do this on this day, this day, this day. So it was like, I moved to a schedule. So I had more consistency. And she was a Taurus. She's very organized and steady. I'm very like, oh, well, they really need this. And maybe if, just going that extra mile rather than adding value to myself and be like, you know what, this isn't working out right now. Maybe when I have consistent business, then I can do you that favor type of thought process. So it's taken me a lot to kind of get there because
Yeah.
I love people. I love dealing with people, helping people. So I think that that's the entrepreneurial approach where you go like this.
Well, so here's where I would say it depends. What happens, and this, the E to P kind of overlaps oftentimes with agents' incomes too. We tend to have incomes that go woo, and this is why. So building in, and what I'm hearing from you a lot is it's boundaries. It's this is what I will do, this is what I won't do, and getting very clear about that. And so that does come into, does it fit? Where does it fit in the model? Where does it fit? That really fits even more so. And where does it fit in your focus? Because every time you're trading time and energy in everything we do in our life. In our business, we're trading time and energy ultimately for money. There's a lot of other things we get out of it, but it's that trade-off. So when you're dealing with people, it's how much time do they get? And part of it's how much are they respecting that time? So that's really building in what's your model for interacting with people? What will you do? What won't you do? Once you have that and you've made those boundaries and set those boundaries for yourself, stick with them. And that's hard because then you're like, I really want this transaction, and they're kind of pushing you all over the place. That's when you'll find yourself falling into more of that entrepreneurial, oh, I'm going to go here versus here are my systems. Here's my model. Here's how this works. So the more you're able to do that out the gate, it is much easier to set standards and keep them now than it is to run your business for a year or two and then try and bring in your standards and the way you work. Because now you're already out there, you're in it, you're doing it. You have people who already think, well, this is how they work. And you're like, well, no, I worked that way coming in because I wanted everyone's business. I can't work that way long term. And they're going, but that's what you did before. And you're like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. If you do it now, that's just the way you do business. So I will tell you, this is one, honestly, I still revisit it because this girl loves the entrepreneurial approach and it's not good for me. So just when you catch yourself going, why do I feel like there's 500 things in the air? You probably are doing the entrepreneurial approach and not the purposeful approach. So come back to this and look at it and go, oh yeah, I remember when Jen said this might happen. Any questions on this one? All right. Again, this ties right in with that self-mastery, but it's really make being learning-based the foundation of your action plan. Make being learning-based the foundation of everything you do in your life is what I would say. Learning-based means I am learning for my own sake. I'm not doing it because someone's making me. I'm not doing it because I have to take CEs. I realize to some degree, you guys have to take this. So you are, and you're here when other people aren't. So, being on that ignorance-based side is saying, I know what I know and everything else doesn't matter. It's also saying, I took that class once. I know it all. There is no class in KW you're going to take once and know it all. In fact, here's what's interesting. You could take this Ignite class today. You could take it in 3 months. You could take it in 6 months. You could take it 3 years from now. It could be the exact same class. It even could be with the exact same instructor, and you're going to hear new things. So remembering that every time you take a class, you're getting about 10% of the information at most. So, and you're evolving. So that the material is important to you in a different way. So remembering that it's an ongoing pursuit. My favorite bold law is your business grows to the extent that you do. And I love that because it's just saying the more you keep growing, the more you keep doing this and being learning based and doing all that, the more your business grows with you. So This really is the starting and the foundation, and then you keep layering them on. Like both of you, I love that both of you are going to First Step to Bold. That's being learning based. That's taking advantage of what's around you. So kudos for you. But it's just remember that, because sometimes it's like, oh my God, I've done all this training. I'm always doing training. Yep, you will be. I'm going to the Glover U training that's happening next week, because especially for me, it is my job to continually be learning based so I can continue to pour into the agents that I serve. So same with your clients. They're hiring you ultimately for your knowledge. So if you decide, I know it all, you may know it all today, but a year from now, you won't if you're not staying on it. I love this quote because it ties in so well with that. But Albert Einstein, I'm neither especially clever nor especially gifted. I am only very, very curious. Learning based means staying in curiosity. Staying in curiosity will also help you in dealing with clients and in dealing with other agents. If you come from a place of curiosity rather than knowing, that means you're not making assumptions. So when another agent says something and you're like, what a jerk, instead of having the what a jerk thought, saying, oh, okay, I'm curious. What did you mean by X? Or something along those lines. That opens up for discovery versus making assumptions and acting as if you know. There are very few things outside of ourselves that we know to be an absolute fact when it involves another human being. So the more we come from curiosity and ask questions and stay in that space, the less we get into I know it all and I'm making assumptions, and whatever happens with those, I must be right. Okay. Limiting beliefs. We all have them. No matter how much work we've done on ourselves, how much we've worked on limiting beliefs. Oh, doggy. We all have them. So this is focusing on working through them. And some of the limiting beliefs that I see oftentimes with new agents are, see if any of these sound familiar. I have to be an expert. I'm not valid until I know more. I don't know how I can set a goal or make enough money that's going to fund my life this year. I don't feel comfortable talking to people about real estate, or another version of that. People don't want to hear from me. I'm bugging them. This one, I don't need to lead generate. The business will just come to me. Any of those resonate? Okay. So what we want to look at is, how do we reframe our limiting beliefs into something that actually serves us, into, as they put it here, an unlimited belief. Because we can get the more we're able to diminish or reframe our limiting beliefs, the more we move into really a position of power for ourselves. So what you want to do with limiting beliefs is, if you flip to page, it's 1.8 in my book, and I should have the same book as you. You've got a little exercise here. And so, for instance, I'll give you a reframe on a limiting belief. We'll start with I have to be an expert and know everything before I can begin my business because I'm not valid yet. A reframe on that could be, you know what? I am super excited. I'm super motivated. I've got support behind me, and I am going to learn as I go. So we're not saying throw it out and pretend like that you already know everything. You're learning as you go. So take a minute real quick, and on 1.8, write down a reframe on these limiting beliefs, and then there's a spot for you to each kind of write down some additional ones you have. So we'll take, just real quick, we'll just take a few minutes to reframe them. All right, take about 1 minute and we'll wrap up and share. Okay, tell me what you came up with. What did we come up with for I have to be an expert and know everything before I can begin my business? I'm not valid yet.
Can I go first?
Sure. We'll just alternate. I'll make it easy. So go for it. What do you got, Lauda?
I wrote, I am currently learning all I can and have an amazing team of experienced, knowledgeable agents in my back pocket.
Perfect. Exactly. And it's true. All right, Shannon, what did you come up with for number 2? I don't know how I can achieve a profit goal that will fund my life this year.
So for myself, it was breaking it down into like smaller pieces so that, it's like you have this big, huge picture that you're looking at of this is where I want to go. And it's overwhelming, that making it into smaller pieces where they're more achievable goals.
Perfect. So I'll take that big goal and I'll break it down. And it's true. When you start to look, people set goals and they're going, I don't know how I'm going to get to that in 12 months. When you break it down and it comes down to, well, here's what you actually need to do weekly and daily. Oftentimes you're like, wow, okay, that's totally doable. But the big goal feels, so I love that. Break it down. All right, Lauda, what do you have about, which this one kind of cracks me up because this is not one that I believe you have, but I'm not comfortable talking with people about real estate.
I will go to Scripps practice to learn how to talk with people on different, and then I scribbled, but my idea was, I will go to Scripps practice is actually awesome. There's Matt, who's great, and then Jeremiah, and they're back and forth. I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. Oh, that's what I can do in that scenario. That's what it was. I'm like, what is that word? Different scenarios.
Exactly. So the more you practice, the more you're comfortable when the scenario comes up. Beautiful. All right, Shannon, what about I can't devote time each day to lead generation? That's a perfect one for you since you work full time.
Yes. Well, and so I'm so scattered all the time, but was that I can schedule small, frequent blocks of time to make calls, do posts, etc. So it's like, I don't have to make 15 calls all at the same time, but I can make a couple here and a couple there.
Yeah, that's perfect. And it's true. That again goes to, that ties perfectly with your last one. We think, oh, I have to have this big block of time. I have to do all of it now. And if we break it down into, you can do 10 calls in a day if you just do one here, one there, one there. Before you know it, they add up. But when we're waiting for that perfect time of, oh, I'm going to set aside 2 hours with no distractions, that sometimes happen. It doesn't always. That's beautiful. Did either of you come up with one or two of your own? Or I know we only had so much time, but was there one that jumped out as here's one that's showing up just for me?
I wrote down, I don't think I can compete with other agents. But I just wrote, I bring my own gifts and abilities and knowledge to the table. I might know and how to deal with a certain kind of personality that maybe someone else doesn't. I speak Spanish. Like I have a lot of things that help me rather than if I sit there and be like, oh, well, that person's been doing it for 5 years. Well, I might be that new rep. I don't know.
So 2 things I'll tell you about new agents. One, your energy usually and your excitement is off the charts compared to old farts like me. We're kind of like, yep, here I am. Do you want me or not? All right, cool. So just know that. So you've got that always. The other thing for any time that you come up, if you're competing against a team, because a lot of times people feel overwhelmed by that, remember there's the team is going to say, hey, yay, you get the team and you get all these people that are serving you. So the flip side of that is, hey, I am a solo agent. That means you always get me. The buck stops with me. So each side can play that, and both things are true. It really is just a matter of then the client gets to decide, hey, do I want a team where I've got a bunch of people serving me, or do I want somebody who's maybe a little bit more focused and individualized on me? So just remembering almost any limiting belief you come up with or anything that's causing you to hesitate, there's a flip side to it. Shannon, did you come up with anything that was a specific one for you?
So with working full time, it is one of those, I don't have a lot of, I guess, free time to go out and do a lot of things. But one of the things that I can do is keep my business cards on me while I'm working, because I still talk to coworkers and I still talk to customers and be like, here you go. And I even put one of the things that I did a while ago is I put a QR, I don't know if you can see it, but I put a QR on my lock screen that goes right to my website.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And I will say working does, because again, it puts you in contact with more people. It just does.
Mhm.
So anything you're out there doing that puts you in front of more people, awesome. All right. So the last personal perspective is be accountable. And God, it is small in your book. So, and this is one that I do believe everyone should print out and have somewhere up on their wall, because it's how you catch yourself in which side you're on. Because very few of us ever say, oh, I'm a victim. Most of us think I'm so accountable. And sometimes when you check yourself on this, you go, I may be hanging out a little bit on the victim side more than I thought. So, what does accountable mean to you guys? What does accountable look like to you?
Me realizing that I'm a huge scatterbrain, and I'm also like out of sight, out of mind, and not one thing you said, it's like, don't let it just fester and be like, it's like not admitting it and being like, I'm okay, there's nothing wrong. There was a lot of like shame and guilt to that. Like, oh, I'm a terrible person. I can't even focus. But like I said, I like bought myself visual aids to help me like I'm a child, and that's okay. And it's going to help me have a better business and, even more have like a better life, family life, so that I can incorporate my business and live my life with my business. So those kinds of things on my end.
I think you said one thing that is really kind of critical, because so often people see accountability as shame and you've done something like almost, if I'm being accountable, I'm in trouble. And that's not it. The more we tie shame with accountability is just being factual about what's happening.
The truth.
Yes. It's not about all the things that come up first. It's like, this is what's happening. So you see, it says life happens, reality shows up. So Shannon, how would you define accountable? What does it mean to you?
Well, I feel like everything that she just said, I'm just like, oh my God, yep, there I am. There I am. Because, yeah, I mean, I honestly, it's like, for me too, it's like thinking about accountability. It's just like, oh, well, now I'm going to go and sit in that corner and beat myself up because I didn't do these things that I was supposed to do, instead of just do the things.
Yep.
And save the beating for a different day.
So what's nice about an accountable person really looks at things and said, everything in my life is a result of my choices and my actions. I own it. Notice they don't say, so, oh my God, look, my life, this is going on in my life and I'm a horrible person because it's a result of my actions. It's just owning it. So when you look down this, you're going to see, seeks reality versus doesn't seek reality, acknowledges reality versus fights reality. If you notice, this kind of turns back to the self-mastery piece too, and being realistic about where you're at now. It doesn't mean you're always there. This is where I am now, and this is where I'm going. So then we get more into accountable person owns it, victim blames. This is so funny. I'm going through something with somebody right now. As I'm working my way down this, I'm like, wow, this is so showing up in this relationship. Find solution versus excuses. Gets on with it versus waits and hopes. So, accountable is where you're able to make change and growth. Victim, you get stuck. Victim is a spiral. It's very, so
example, my husband got me a blizzard yesterday. I'm kind of lactose intolerant, and I'm sitting there and I'm going to eat it, and I'm like, look, you brought me this. And he's like, you're the one choosing to eat it. And
you brought it to me.
I just stopped and I'm like, you know what, you're right. I'm not eating this anymore.
But it tastes so good. But that's exactly it. And so the reason I like this one, and like I said, I think having this one out somewhere is when you're having that day where you're just feeling like I'm banging my head against the wall, everything's going wrong. This other person, if you pull this out, you kind of go, oh, okay, where I always say, what's my DNA in this? Where do I have ownership? Where do I have the ability to effectuate change? Because I have no control over that person over there. I have owning that really helps.
Let me mute this. Sorry.
And just remembering that so that you're able to constantly be kind of up leveling. What are some ways right now that you either can be or are being accountable?
I'm in this class again.
Yeah. I mean, some of the ways you're doing it, Ignite, doing any assignments when you are, if you're showing up and you're doing, like Lotto, when you show up for coaching and accountability there, scripts, those things, and you can be accountable to yourself. That's a little harder sometimes because you need a mirror. And you want a mirror that, again, is going to mirror you, but not shame you. There's no room for shame and accountability. The second somebody you're working with that is holding you accountable starts to shame you, you need to move out of that relationship or have the conversation that, hey, that's not the accountability I'm looking for. And if that can't change, move out of the relationship. So those are the 6 personal perspectives. And like I said, this is the foundation really for everything in your business. Why is my screen not changing? Oops. I don't know why. There we go. Okay. Happiness is not an individual sport. And that ties, directly into one of the things you'll hear Gary Keller say is no one succeeds alone. So remembering that, and that's where accountability ties in with it. The ability to have people that are mirroring for you, that are reframing, that are helping you maybe see blind spots and being open to that. And again, that also is making certain that the people you're choosing to do that with are safe. It doesn't mean they're not going to push you, but it means they really do have your best interest at heart. Now, what I will tell you in your business, accountability from a spouse or a significant other is usually not a great idea. Finding accountability with a coach, a mentor, another agent, a peer, those things, just because spouses have their own agenda in there too. Like their lives are tied to your success. So having somebody that doesn't have a personal tie to it really helps in the accountability space. Okay. So real quick, tell me each of you give me one aha from the 6 personal perspectives.
from each one?
No, just for one. What's
Okay.
what's something that's sticking with you from our conversation so far?
Just that accountability does not equal shame or guilt. You know, and I'm learning that like I'm not a bad person because I do these things as long as I am aware and I am doing things to change it.
Yeah. It's a
Mhm.
growth journey. How about you, Shannon? What's an aha?
So I always worry that I focus too much on taking classes and doing education and watching videos, and no, I'm okay with that. It's acceptable. It's encouraged.
It's a both and. That's what I love about it. It's do the classes, and do the action. The one thing I'll say, and I joke with this with everyone, I mean, Keller Williams, because of the vast breadth of training we have, like somebody who loves training could come into this company and could train from now until the day they die and not cover all the content we have.
Yes.
Connect, it's insane. It's wonderful. And if you want to hide behind training, you can do it very easily here. So it's that balance. So I love that. Yeah. Okay, so we are going to move on to KW culture. So some things with culture. We have our MVVBP. Say that 5 times real fast, which is that's our mission, vision, values, benefits, and our what's my last one? My brain's not working. Perspective. Thank you. I'm like, I should know these like gold. So looking at that, oh, I could have flipped the slide and I would have had it. But our mission here at KW is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth living. And I love this because the "and legacies worth living" got added. I don't remember. It probably was 10 years ago, but to me, it feels like a few years ago. And I think that just takes our mission to an even higher level because it's not just about us. It's about what's the gift we're leaving for the world. So Ignite really starts out on focusing on, a career worth having and a business, which leads into a business worth owning, which then we believe that you're building that business for the life that you get to live. And then finally, that you reach a point where you've got these experiences that you're living and you're sharing with other people, and then this legacy that you're living. So that is the focus of really everything we do. Then we have the Y4C2Ts, which there's actually a whole little hand movement and everything to this. I'm not going to make you memorize that. I don't know if I remember it anymore, but so the Y4C2Ts is really like, again, the beliefs that we do everything at KW on. We are very focused on win-win or no deal, integrity, and doing the right thing. We believe our customers come first. We believe commitment in all things. We believe communication, seek first to understand. That ties right in with that curiosity, creativity. So we're looking at ideas before we go for results. How are we going to get to the results? We do that through ideas and coming up with innovative things that we turn into models and systems and we implement on. Teamwork, together everyone achieves more. Trust, which starts with honesty. That obviously ties very much into the integrity piece too. Equity. This is one that got added a few years ago. Opportunities for all. And I love that Keller Williams is really embracing that and owning it, and a leader in the industry on really looking at equity and where that's been happening and where it hasn't been happening in our industry. And then finally, success. We believe that's results through people. People are what this is all about. It's what it's about in terms of our agents here at the company, in terms of the people that we serve outside, our clients, all of it. So that really is our belief system. So take a minute, and on page 1.10, you've got the list of the beliefs there, and then it says what you're going to embody. Pick a belief and then say how you're going to embody that belief. So do that real quick and then we can share it. Just take like a minute for that. Pick a belief and how are you personally going to embody it? All right, ladies, I don't know if you're actually here because both of you are off camera, but if you're both, if either of you is here, share what you got.
I think I chose commitment in all things.
Okay.
I'm someone who I'm not a pushover, but like I said, like I've been known to be like a rule bender because I'm like, oh, my heart for these people, and even myself, like, oh, cut yourself some slack. But commitment in all things, setting boundaries with others, to myself, doing what I say I will do, and keep my own promises. Because if I say I'm not going to do this and I do end up doing it, or I say that I like not putting myself up for failure type of things, and really doing things like small things like my grocery list and sticking to it, my budget, sticking to it, time blocks, don't cut the minutes off if this extra 10 minutes will lead me to a phone call, or things like that. So commitment in all things.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say with that, because you talked about commitments to yourself, so many of us will keep commitments to other people and we won't keep commitments to ourselves. And the problem with that is when you don't keep commitments to yourself across time, you no longer trust yourself. You say, oh, I'm going to do this. And in the back of your head, you're like, yeah, right. We'll see if you do it or not. So really building that.
It's hard to hold yourself accountable because then you're like, yeah.
And it is. So when you're going after a big goal, it is very hard not to have somebody else that you're sharing with, because oftentimes we will do something for somebody else that we will not do for ourselves. So if we make a commitment to somebody else, I'm going to show up. It's why they say, get a workout buddy. If you're supposed to meet your friend at the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're going to show up. You're not going to stand them up. If you have to go to the gym by yourself at 6 o'clock in the morning, there's a strong likelihood of hitting the snooze button and rolling over and sleeping for another half hour or whatever it is. So that's definitely. How about you, Shannon? Which one are you focused on embodying?
The commitment, just because it's funny. I've had my license for 2 years. This is my 4th agency. This was actually going to be my first, but I didn't go. Took me 2 years to be like,
that's all right. Now you know you're in the right spot.
Yes. So it's just focusing in on that commitment, not just to an agency, but to myself to do it. It's a huge thing for me.
Good. Okay. So both of you, it's commitment. And I would say with yourself, if you're kind of in that spot where you're not trusting that you're going to keep your commitments, start out small with yourself. Make small ones. Start to build up your trust in yourself again. If I do this little thing, oh, I did it. Then tomorrow it might be a little bit bigger, but building up that muscle again. And again, most of us will keep commitments to other people. Like, we're rarely going to flake on other people. It's so fascinating to me that as a species, we'll keep commitments to other people than not to ourselves. So yeah, awesome. So that's our belief system here. And that funnels into how our culture shows up in our organizations. So Red Day. Red Day happens the second Thursday of every May, so it is coming up. And Red Day is a day that we go out into the community as an entire company and serve different projects in different areas. And I have to say, it's one of the best days of the year at KW. It is so fun to go out as a team and work on a project together and see what an impact we have, and the organizations and the people that we serve when we do them. They are always so grateful because we're such a large group, or so able to get, I've had people say we get more done in that one day than we do all year with our volunteers. So Red Day is awesome. And then we
Quick
have
question with that. So because I want to, I have, working, I want to make sure I have that day off. So it's the 11th this year. It's the second May.
Right, but let me make sure that that's a true
Okay.
statement.
Because I want to be able to participate in that.
Yes, it is the 11th.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, you definitely want to. It's fun. And then we talk about here KW Cares. So KW Cares is was founded. It's for us to take care of our own. So KW Cares has the ability, both there's like a local level, a regional level, and then the international level. And it's in place to help in an emergency. That could be a family emergency. It could be KW is one of the first groups on the scene when they had all the flooding and everything in Houston. We had semis the second they opened the roads. We had semis filled with supplies going in. We also that year, to give an idea, Mega Camp was in Texas, and instead of staying at Mega Camp and doing Mega Camp, our agents went out and went in and worked on homes, both for some of our agents, but for other people in the community, because all of those homes had to have sheetrock torn out, everything, because they'd flooded. So that's KW Cares is really about, how do we take care of our people first? And then, Red Day is about going out into our communities. And then KW Kids Can is really devoted to helping young people, young adults, really self-empowerment. It really is about the program actually teaches them how to come up with, a lot of them develop businesses out of it. And what it was originally designed is Quantum Leap is the class for adults, and they did a Quantum Leap for kids. And so it takes them through a program that just teaches them things that we do not teach in school.
Like finances and how to save and how to build a credit. Like those are things that should be taught in school.
We don't teach people, we teach people how to become employees.
And how to be renters and pay other people's mortgages and how to make other people's businesses successful.
Yeah, and say KW Kids Can is really teaching them how to think more entrepreneurial, how to think more, and how to think differently, and not always go along with what the norm is. So it's and the nice thing about KW Kids Can, if you want, in the long run, it is taught by agents and leadership throughout Keller Williams. And it is always done at no cost to the participants. So it's a great way to give back in your community, is to do a program. So you can be involved with any of these. You can donate to any of these. A lot of people have a donation come off of every closing that goes into, and you can designate it for KW Cares or KW Kids Can. And that's a nice way. You can just do like $10 off of a closing. Every little bit adds up. The other thing about that is we do at a local level, we've got them. So I've seen it be used for, we had an agent that was having surgery and didn't have insurance. And so we were able to, at a local level, help with that. So things like that. Which I love. I love that our company does that. So, all right, what's a quick aha from the culture side of things? One from each of you.
So I love the fact that we have so many different programs, avenues. I didn't know about the kids can. That excites me a little bit. And I'd forgotten about the May Day. And I remember, God, probably 10 years ago working at Joann's and having agents coming in and buying things to go do the Red Day. So it's like, that's
cool.
I've got to do this.
Very cool. All right. How about you, Lana?
Just the same. I think that like I don't feel alone, you know, having this be like a company-wide thing, and knowing like that it's ingrained in you, and I, I don't know, I feel like I have a lot of these things I could just always revamp it, refreshen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's one of the things I love. And people who don't kind of buy into our culture and our belief system typically self-select out. So it's one of the nice things that, in KW, you're surrounded by people who, at least from this standpoint, think similar to you, which I always think is a nice thing. So.
And and that's actually one of those things that's kind of difficult to do, coming from, being with other agencies, brokerages. Like, I was by myself. I was a singular agent by myself. And so now it's a little bit of having to change that mindset of being like, no, I can call and talk to people and it's okay. And if I go to the office, I'm not imposing on anybody.
Yes, exactly. No, we're very much, it's one of the things. And I mean, when I started in the business, I was in a small independent for, I think 9 months before I came over to KW. And that was one of the things when I came to KW, I was like, there's so much help. There's so much training. There's so much of everything. I just don't even know. And I still say it today. I'm like, agents who don't start here, there's no way of knowing. I mean, Shannon, you know this now. You start somewhere else and that's what you think it's like everywhere. And people start here and they think it's like this everywhere. And then they leave and they go, oh my goodness. And I can't tell you how many people start here, think, oh, the grass is greener, and go, oh, can I come back? And it's just, you don't know what you don't know. But yeah, so it's the culture. The culture definitely is what most of us foundationally why we're at KW. All right, now we're going to talk about kind of the KW value and who KW is. So just going to read this because I want to make sure I get all the numbers right. So since 1983, Keller Williams has cultivated an agent-centric, technology-driven, and education-based culture that rewards agents as stakeholders, also known as profit share. Keller Williams is the world's largest global real estate franchise by agent count and has more than 1,100 offices and 200,000 associates. KW is also #1 in units and sales volume in the United States and at the forefront of technology, training, and culture. Definitely at training. We're actually for Training Magazine, we're in the Training Hall of Fame. And they put us in the Training Hall of Fame because we kept winning, and they eventually move you out of the running so that other people can actually win. KWX is the holding company of Keller Williams and is composed of Keller Williams Worldwide, Keller Mortgage, Keller Offers, Keller Home Financial Services, which consists of Keller Mortgage and Keller Covered. All of those are designed to serve you and your clients. So all of those are part of being in the KW family. And here are just a couple of awards that we've gotten. Every year we get a ridiculous number of awards. And one thing to know, our brokerage network just showed up as, what was it? I forget the number. I think, because this is kind of cool. In the Real Trends 500, which is, they track everything in real estate. Our brokerage network came in number 175 in top brokerage in the country and 183 in top volume for the country.
Mm.
So that's out of everyone, not Keller Williams, everyone. So that's a very cool thing to be part of. And then just some of the awards we've gotten as a company. We've got top franchise for veterans, top female friendly company, top 500 franchises, world's best employers, America's best customer experience, best employers for women and new grads, best employers for diversity. I mean, the list literally every year goes on and on. So it's not, we're known not just as a real estate company with that kind of success, but also in terms of how we treat our agents and a place to work and all of those things. So again, it's awesome. And then talking some about how KW benefits your clients. You've got the opportunity to offer services to them like Keller Mortgage, Keller Covered, Keller Offers. So these are things as you go along, you're gonna want to be exploring and learning more about them. So my recommendation on some of these is just, maybe take 15 minutes a day and go in and explore these resources that then you can use. You can use them for, they're great tools for marketing because you can talk about different options. Keller Mortgage especially, because there's discounts they get by using Keller Mortgage. Even if they don't end up working with Keller Mortgage, it's a great lead gen tool. And so you can use, and then using some of the statistics I showed you before, and then also statistics specifically from your market center, that helps to show the value you're providing to the clients and providing to the industry. And what's also nice and a thing to remember is when you're serving people, it's not just serving them in your local market. Anyone at this point, in most of we're not in every country, we're in a lot of them. So anyone worldwide, there's a strong likelihood we can help them with Keller Williams, and you can refer and get referral fees. So remembering that. Oh, nope. Are we there yet? Yeah, we are. Okay. Okay. So, training and coaching. This one, I'm going to just kind of run through these. Connect and Connect Live. If you have not been on KW Connect, take some time and go on there. I actually, right now, because you're in Ignite, that's a lot. What I would suggest is dig into this, be looking at KW Connect. It is a tremendous resource. And then once you're done with Ignite, start putting it on your calendar that you're going to spend like an hour a week on Connect. This is also where you're going to learn all the command training is on there. It is our training hub. And it's so funny because agents ask me, and I'll be like, let me look on Connect, because it's the best place to start. Local and regional trainings. So obviously we've got trainings that happen at the market center level. We have trainings that happen at our network level. We have them at a local level. We have them at a regional level. And then we've got our international events. So the beauty of that is it is wonderful to learn at your market center level. I love that Ignite is done at the network level because you get more opinions, more people from different places, local, regional. Again, the more you start to interact with people who aren't right in your little group of people, the more you learn and the more you get different takes on things. The more somebody comes up, tells you something that they've done in their market that you're like, wow, I never would have thought of that. I'm going to try that. So again, the local training is wonderful. Get out and start attending some of the other trainings too. The two major events that we have for Keller Williams Realty International, our family reunion, which happens every February, and that changes locations. And Mega Camp, which happens, it depends. It is usually it's in September, sometimes it's in August. So August or September for Mega Camp, and that's in Austin. And my recommendation is as soon as you can get to one of these events. I believe that until you've been to family reunion or mega camp, and my preference for the initial one is family reunion, you don't understand what you're part of. The first time you walk into the main room for family reunion and see the number of people and the energy and see the people on stage, it gives you a whole different perspective on Keller Williams. It's like, wow. And so as soon as you can, get to one of them. So I would put that somewhere in your goals for like family reunion next February. And then Keller Williams University. So we've got Ignite as the core curriculum for new agents. And then in Keller Williams University, that's where you're going to see all of the other trainings. There's Win with Buyers, Win with Sellers. And all of these materials, guys, are on Connect for you. So even if Win with Sellers isn't being offered, in the region or in the market center right now, you can always pull the materials for it and self-study. So that's great. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be unless you were in the class, you didn't have access to the materials. It's all out there now.
So I'm
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. So for example, all these lessons that are recorded and whatnot, would they be somewhere here? Is there like a library?
Okay, so like for Ignite, for our brokerage network, if you miss something and you want, or if you want a copy of the recording, you reach out to Mara for that. It's not on KW Connect, but she's got the recordings for it. So yeah. KW enablement, that's where your command training is. And then KW Maps. So Maps does several different things. One of them is Bold, which you're both going to experience. So there's Bold. Maps has individual coaching, and they have group coaching programs, which are kind of a hybrid between coaching and training. So most of the group programs are a 3-month program that's on a specific topic. So that's something, as you're expanding and growing, looking at what Maps has to offer is a really good tool. Quick question on this particular slide: which of the 6 personal perspectives apply to this?
You're making my brain hurt.
Oh my goodness, I'm making you apply what you learn.
Number 4, make
I know
the foundation of your action plan.
You got it. Yeah.
Yes.
This is staying learning based by tapping into all of this. All right, command. This is your
everything
for your business. It really does everything. And I will tell you guys, you are coming in at such a wonderful time, because those of us who have been here, we've watched it evolve, and it went through some growing pains. They've been honest about it. And it now is an incredibly robust, incredibly solid platform for you to do your marketing, your transaction management, your scheduling, like all of it is there, your goals, it's all in one place. And the reason this was developed was because really until this point, we all had to piecemeal. Our database was here, our marketing was in this thing. And so you were moving people from here to there. And then over here's where we set our goals. And then our calendar was over here and our email was over here. And so you were in and out of all these platforms. There was no continuity. This took everything and put it in one place. So you're not having to go, well, my database is here, but I want to send a postcard. So now I have to export my database and import it over here. It's brilliant. So if you have not explored Command, you want to become best friends with it. Full transparency on this, I'm having to learn Command because I'm one of the people who initially was like, yeah, this isn't working real well. I think I'm going to not adopt. Now it's time to adopt. And we have training at the brokerage level, and then there's KW training. So everything you need is on KW, but getting that live training we also have, which is wonderful. And Jeremiah does that. So you've got an incredible trainer. Any questions on command? Other than don't make me go in and show you how to do everything because I can't do it all yet.
I feel like you should go in and show us how to do everything.
Well, so here's how I learned software. I'm the girl who doesn't take the training or I go in and I just start messing with stuff. So that's my way of learning it. And that's how I've learned what I know on it. So it's just going in and using it. The beautiful thing is you're not going to do anything that breaks it.
No, I've definitely been playing it, and I've taken a command class with Jeremiah, and he is phenomenal. He gave me a lot of aha moments.
You like aha moments.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I am looking at the time. All right, we're gonna have to pick it up or we're gonna be here. We're not gonna make it. So, all right. Okay. Okay. Along with command, we have the command app, which once you've got command, if you haven't already, then you can download the app and have it on your phone. Again, really strong tool. And then we've got the KW app. That's the app you can share with your clients. So if you haven't downloaded these and played with them, definitely download and play with them. Okay. I'm gonna move through those quickly. Yeah, because those are ones we can kind of skip. All right, profit share and growth share. So profit share and growth share are not a reason to come, not the reason to come to Keller Williams. They're kind of the bonus. And so profit share is when you refer in somebody who joins Keller Williams in North America. Growth share is when it's international. So they're called different things because at the higher up level, it matters. In terms of what they actually bring to you, they're pretty much the same. The nice thing about profit share and growth share is it's passive income. So I love it listed here. No financial risk, no legal risk, no down payment, no phone calls. It's just money that comes to you. It also it's your money and you also can pass it on to your heirs. So anything you have going in profit share, when you pass away, they inherit it and it's ongoing. The nice thing to remember is this is about referring people in. It is not about you going out and recruiting. It's about, hey, I have a great transaction with somebody and I think they'd be an awesome fit in our office. And so I'm going to tell my team leader, hey, Susie Q over there and I just did a transaction and I really liked her. I think it would be awesome if you followed up and just checked in with her and see if she's interested. Or you meet somebody out there that you're like, this person would be a fantastic realtor. And you say, hey, have you ever thought about getting into real estate? Most people, if you think they're going to be good in real estate, at some point it's crossed their head, maybe I should be a realtor. So you say that to them, they're like, yeah, I kind of have. Well, then invite them to a career night. This is you referring them into the process. Then you let leadership walk them through the options and all that, not you. When they join, they go in your downline. And when they sell something in a profitable market center, you get profit share. It's that easy. Did you have a question, Laura?
About career night. I actually have someone who was asking about career night, and I know we just had, I think, a virtual and then in person, but I wasn't able to get the links for her.
Okay. I will get those for you.
Okay,
I'll look up. I forget when the next dates are, but I'll get those for you and send them to you.
Thank you.
For sure. Okay, we are at ahas. So give me one aha about everything we just discussed about the value that you have as agents and that you have to provide to your clients.
I just love that we have so much training, and from every direction, because I know that we also just got, are able now to do credit classes for our licenses. Words are hard sometimes. But we can do all of that, so we can get so much knowledge based in ourselves to be an amazing agent for different clients in different situations.
Yes. Yes. And that is the foundation of why KW is adding these pieces. They want us to become the hub, really, ultimately, for almost any financial decision that somebody's making. Definitely anything that's around real estate, insurance, mortgage, like we've got luxury, we've got commercial.
One-stop
So
shop.
we're really able to serve. Louder.
I was just, you guys, we want to be the one-stop shop.
Yep. Because then that gives you always have something to talk about then. Hey, you know what? I realized you're coming up on your home anniversary. I was wondering, have you talked to your insurance agent? Have you looked at possibly, is there a way you can save on insurance? Hey, we've got color code. Like, again, doesn't mean they have to, but it's providing value to them in different ways. Okay.
Friends and family discount.
All right. So this is just really running through the KWX companies. And again, kind of what we were just talking about. If you notice, the agents and clients are in the hub. And what we're doing is building out everything around it so that you're covered and your clients are covered everywhere in there. So you notice we've got them in the buying process. Then when they're living there, we've got the upgrades and repair and maintenance. That's Color Manage. And that's also, even if you're not using Color Manage, you've got your own set of tools. But these are the tools to keep them throughout the life cycle. Because otherwise, somebody buys, it's 7 to 10 years now as average home ownership. You're staying in contact with them that whole time. This gives you so many different things to talk about. Even if you just talked about real estate and then like picked one of these to talk about on a monthly basis, you've got so much you could go through. So just remembering this is all there to keep you at the hub. Now, the other thing is you need to realize with any of these, when we're referring, you'll see it down here at the bottom. And it's in your book, I believe, too. But making sure in order to be RESPA compliant, anytime we're referring or using a KWX company, you need to have the affiliated business disclosure sign. There's a link in here for it. It's also something we can provide if you need. It's just letting people know, hey, these businesses are connected. You'll see that sometimes in real estate transactions too. The like if you've got a listing, if you're writing on a listing, sometimes that company will send you an affiliated business agreement. So it's full disclosure, so everyone knows, hey, these businesses are related. They're one is probably making money off of the other, kind of thing. So just be aware of that.
Okay.
And this is something that'll come up even more. You'll get more detail throughout Ignite talking about these, but it's just so you kind of know. And then KW communities. Our goal at KW is to have, a community within the community that everyone wants to join or is part of. So we've got diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've got KW commercial, KW land, KW luxury, KW military, KW new homes, KW sports and entertainment, KW young professionals. We've got a reload division. So this is really the opportunity for you to specialize in certain areas in your business, and then to also collaborate with other agents that are in that area. And some of these are more like young professionals. They tend to do more trainings and more social stuff. They're still focused on real estate, but they tend to be more that. Obviously, if you're doing like luxury, those agents are agents that are very focused on luxury. So these are all communities that you can look into. And my recommendation is to find one that really kind of fits what you're doing and join it, because again, it will expose you to a different group of agents and some different thinking. All right. Okay, now we get to dig into your vision. This is the part I love. So we're going to look at page 1.15 in your book. And what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go, okay, it's a year from now. So what is today? April 4th? Yeah. It's April 4th, 2024. So 4/4/24. And you have a business that is thriving. Your life is everything you've dreamed of. Your customers are raving about the experience and the value you provide. They think of you when they have a real estate need. Your friends and family are proud of your success and are consistently referring business your way. They're congratulating you on how successful you are. You're helping others live their dream of owning a home because you're focused on helping them get what they desire. You're building the foundation and momentum for your entire career, and you're gaining relationships and experiences and the income you desire. You're the top agent in your market center, or if you're new, you're the rookie of the year. You're poised to hire a part-time assistant to handle your 80% while you take care of the 20% that grows your business. And you are on the path to. You get to fill in the blank here.
Why am I crying?
Because that's exciting. All of that can be yours. You just need to do your 20%. So yeah, tell me, like, what else is in there? So take about, let me look at that. I'm going to give you a little bit of a short time on this. Take 2 minutes and just write down some. This is one you're going to want to revisit. All right. So my question to you is, when you read, the list that's in the book and read what you added to that, how does it make you feel?
Emotional.
What's the emotion?
It started out as being overwhelmed, but then I was like, this is an achievable thing. It was just like relief. I'm now with Loda, and I'm crying. I've got tears, so you're not alone. I'll be emotional with you.
I mean, you're doing it right. Because guess what? Emotion is what moves us forward. So feeling that, and that means you're feeling it. It means it's not just up here, it's in here. And that's what keeps us focused and moving forward. So I love that you're both in tears.
Just make us cry.
Tears. My guess is they're tears of excitement and possibility and hope. Yeah. How about you, Lada? I think you're probably like, yeah, what she said. But
yeah, I mean, I don't share this with everybody, but like I was in a relationship where I was renting, I was in debt, and I was like on this survival mode where I had to work, obviously you have to work to survive, but it wasn't the same. It doesn't feel like I'm working it didn't feel like I was going somewhere. And here I can see where my work is taking me. I can, if I focus, I can get there. And I want to own my own home. I want to spend
Mhm.
quality time with my family, and see my work. I want to help people and see that I'm helping people, not just, I don't know, it is emotional to read all these things and be like, I can do that. I have the tools.
And so for both of you, remember that, like, keep this page for the day where you're like, what did I get myself into? Why am I doing this? And everything we're going to work on right now is all of that. But this is the first. What is your vision? And sometimes the big vision is too far out. If you need to, what's your vision for this month? Like, what is going to make it's April 30th and you had a killer month. What happened? You can say it's 5 p.m. tonight and I had a killer day. What happened? So it doesn't always have to be the big pieces, but those things pull us forward in those moments of uncertainty or the feeling of I want to quit. And I'll say it here. This is for you and for anyone who's listening to the recording. As a new agent, you will have moments of freak out. That is normal. And the reason I say that to people is because we tend to be home and in tears and going, this isn't working, and thinking it's just us. It's not you. For some people, it's week 1. For some people, it's 3 months in there, and everything in between. That's normal. So don't think there's something wrong with you. Okay. So let's expand past this. Now we're going to look at your big life. And I apologize because your trainer here did not do a great job of managing time. So I'm going to talk you through this, and then I'm going to let you do this one on your own. For one, because I don't want you rushing through this. So please earmark this page and come back to it, because this is really about what do you want to do in your life? And they've given you some ideas here, like, put their kids through school debt free. And how much is that going to cost? So these are, what are the big things in your life? And you can do this for this year. You can do it for long term. This is not there's a certain way of doing it. But what are the big things in your life that you're working for? Because yes, we work for money, but really we work for the things we can do with that money. So this could tie into, some of this falls into that category of legacies worth living, lives worth living, or legacies worth leaving. Some of that, lives worth living. If there's a big vacation, a wedding, college, those things. So go back and do this, because this paired with your vision, those two together, them somewhere. Once you've done them, have them somewhere that you can refer to. They will keep you focused and moving forward. And the biggest thing with this, there's no limits. When you start going, I can't have that, or that's too much, or that's too expensive, this is your opportunity to remove those limiting beliefs. Dream big. You get to create this. One of the things Gary Keller says that I love is people overestimate what they can do in a year, and they underestimate what they can do in 5 years. Your entire world can be different in 5 years. I've seen people start in real estate and in 5 years be making millions of dollars a year. Anything is possible. So don't limit yourself when you're dreaming about your big life. The bigger you dream, the better. I would rather have you dream big and get 75% of the way there than dream really small and make it, but miss out on that other chunk of life that you could have had if you didn't limit yourself. So no limits. That's the only rule on this. No limits, and you're going to do it. I know this isn't real estate, but I promise you, these things we're doing right now are what drive your business and what keeps you focused and motivated and engaged. So can I get a promise you'll do it?
Yes. I'm going to make copies of this, and I'm actually going to do, once again, break it down into smaller things.
You can take your big life and you can also do it as, here's my focus in like my family or my relationships. Here's my focus in my business. Here's my focus in my personal, my health and my wellness. There's a lot of ways you can do this, but the idea is just get really clear on why you're doing what you're doing. Which leads us right to achieve success, you need motivation and inspiration for doing it. Your big why. You will hear that all over Keller Williams. We believe in having a big why. We believe that pulls you through on days when you just don't want to get out of bed. It's our North Star. It guides what we do. Now, oftentimes the first time somebody's looking at big why, it's a little overwhelming. So you can have a big why that is your big why right now, and that big why can evolve and change. For most people, when they get into real estate, it usually is about a certain level of success in real estate. As people have more success in real estate, their big why tends to become more and more about stuff outside of them. It moves more into that legacy type thing. So it used to be everyone kind of said, well, you have to have one big why for your life. I'm going to say that some people know exactly what that is out the gate, and some people it's an evolution. So whatever your big why is for right now, and the big why combined with this vision and with your big life, those are the things that pull you forward. They're the things that drive your business. They're the things that get you to do lead gen when you don't want to do lead gen. So the questions to be asking yourself when you look at your big why is, what really spurs your soul? What makes you feel? What are the things that bring you energy that just the things that on the days when you want to quit, you're going to read it and go, no, I can't quit. I'm working towards this. And that's more important than my fear or my frustration or whatever's coming out. So for your big why in your book, you've got, it's at the bottom of the page of the big life. So this page in your book with your future and your big life and your big why right there. If you have those out, fill them out. And I love the idea, Shannon, of making copies. For one, those are going to evolve. This isn't a one and done. You don't set goals once and then never do anything with them again. So having them printed out is a great thing to be able to kind of keep going back and revisiting them. All right, let's talk about money. Where your commission dollars go. The other thing I would say about this is the reasons why you don't want to become a discount broker. You earn your money. So where your commission dollars go, they go to the other agent, they go to the market center, they go to your business expenses, they go to your taxes, and then you get your take home. So with that, it is the reason that becomes hang on, couldn't get the my technology. So now I've skipped ahead. Okay. I want to talk more. Let me see if I can get that to go back, because I wanted to actually walk you through. It doesn't want to go back. There we go. Okay. So, couple things with the money. So when we say about the other agent, commissions go to the listing brokerage, the listing agent, and then they are shared with the co-op broker. Typically that's 50-50. It's not a hard and fast, but that's typically how it works. Then you've got roughly, until you're capped, roughly a third goes to the market center. About another third goes to business expenses. So are you starting to see the numbers? Then you get to pay taxes, and then you get your piece. So one of the things to do, especially if you're working with commissions, a tool is put $3 on the table. And you can easily say, look, one of these dollars goes to pay my brokerage and my taxes. One of these goes to marketing and doing everything for your home. And one of these goes to my family. I don't have an option of paying my market center or my taxes. Those have to happen. And I'm feeding and housing my family. So when you want me to discount, the only pool I have to pull from is this middle one, which is things to do with selling your home. Sometimes explain that to people because they think, first of all, they think if it's, we'll just use 6%. They think if you're listing their home and it's 6%, they think that you're getting all of that. And so sometimes educating them is helpful. Any questions around money? Okay. All right. So there is an example here of an income goal, and then you're going to do this on your own. But I want to walk you through this. This is how, when it comes down to, we were saying, how do you break it down into the small? So this is showing you, and this is, for most of us, this is very low. It's got your average commission at $9,000. That, at least in Portland Metro, that is not the average commission. Our average sales price is right around 500. So, for a 2.5% commission, which is pretty average right now, it's going to be 12.5. So just know that. The other thing on this to look at for the example is the company dollar and royalty cap. The beauty for us is that's a total of 15,000. It is not 30,000. So we save money there because our network is wonderful. Business expenses, again, typically that's going to be right around a third of your total GCI. So when you look at it, if you look at this with company dollar and the business expenses, you're about at 80,000. So that means right now we've got a net income of 100,000. So for this person in this scenario to net $100,000, they need to sell 20 homes. Do you see that breakdown there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are there any questions on any of it? And this is broken down. We're on page 1.17, and this breaks it down for you. This is where you're going to be able to do your own. And again, because your instructor doesn't manage your time well, I'm going to give that to you for homework. What I will say for you guys, if you want to do it, and then if you want me to look at it to kind of check your work, so to speak, feel free. I'll drop my email in the chat, and you can feel free to email it to me. But this is important because this tells you what you need to focus on. Here's the nice thing for you guys: for 100,000, it is probably going to be closer to like 11 or 12 transactions right in there. It's not going to be 20. With the business expenses, one little thing, and there'll be more about it later in Ignite, but one of the things to remember is with business expenses, it's red light, green light. I rarely see an agent that is spending kind of what they should be. People either are throwing money away and throwing it at everything and overspending, or they're being super stingy with the purse strings. There's that middle ground. And so it's looking at, do not overspend. We are very much about you playing red light, green light, and you do not, you earn the money before you spend it. Obviously, when you're new, there's that ramp up period. But being very, very clear on, I have the money and this is where I'm spending it, not overspending. And then as you get more stabilized, that's when you start adding and going, I need to add more money in. And it usually is in the lead gen side of things. Sometimes it'll be, oh, it's time to add an assistant or something like that. That's obviously when you choose to hire somebody, you just did a big jump in business expenses. So you want to make sure you've got that solid foundation for it. But again, build this out so you know what your numbers look like.
I think you're on mute.
Oh, shoot. How long have I been on mute?
About 2 seconds.
Oh, good. Okay, I must have bumped it when I changed the slide. All right, so let me try that again. What are your ahas? Because we just talked about money.
It does. So based on my income goals, then my annual transaction goal would be 15. And I almost, I feel like it's doable. Like
It's doable.
I like, that's like having one transaction and like it being in the middle somewhere and then picking up another one. I mean, that it seems doable. Just have to work a little harder.
It's very doable. And what you'll find is you start to gain momentum. There's the ramp up. In general, what you're doing now shows up in about 90 days. What we have a tendency to do though, is we focus. I got a transaction. I'm throwing everything out the window because I'm focused on the transaction. I need to focus on the transaction and keep doing the daily activities at the same time. So that's the big one. How about you, Shannon? Any ahas?
Mostly just do it. Just need to do it.
So I would think for you, one of the things you would be shooting for is, hey, what's my number for being able to exit working full time?
Yeah.
How do I know when I'm safe and I can say bye-bye and I've got my business over here. So that's what's fun with this, and play with it. Like sometimes you get started and you're like, wow, if I did 2 deals a month, look how much money I would make. And so it's just fun for playing with it and looking at the possibilities. All right. So daily success system. Wait a minute. Yeah. Daily success system. So this is, we're looking at on a daily basis, these are the things that you want to be doing. So we're looking for 10 conversations. We're looking for 10 contacts. We're looking for 10 handwritten notes. And we're looking that you're doing the 10-5-1 on social media, and we'll walk you through that. I'm not going to get into what that is, but these are what we're tracking on a daily basis. And I'm just looking. These are not matching your book, are they?
No.
All righty. Well, I'm going to walk you through this because then we get to powerful conversations. So I'm not sure why you guys don't have this in your book. But again, this is your focus. 10 conversations, 10 contacts, 10 handwritten notes. Now the conversations, it used to be, we said they had to be voice to voice. The text conversations count now. Emails are not a conversation. So on a daily basis, those 10 conversations.
The conversations would be considered something where you have a back and forth.
Exactly. You're not talking at someone, you're talking with someone. And then knowing that, the other thing I want to remind you, because this is talking about calling people. So you have to comply with the TCPA, which is the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, and the do not call list. We are reminding you of that because legally it can get very, 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 very ugly for you, for the Market Center, and for Keller Williams International. So please follow the rules. And honestly, typically it's not new agents, it's usually teams. But just make sure if you're calling and it's not people make sure you're checking the do not call list.
Okay. And I haven't checked that do not call list website, but is it basically like we have let's say I'm going to call people in my neighborhood, I would get their numbers from the white pages or whatever,
Yeah. And so then you would need to check against the do not call. Usually if you're going to be doing like a farm or like your neighborhood, you're going to get a list from a title company, and the title company, most of the title companies are checking against the do not call list. So now I am required to read this to you. So it is, there we go. Let me make sure I'm on the right one. Okay. The Do Not Call Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Every day in class, we will make calls to people we know and are connected to. Before you make any calls or texts, please remember to honor the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, TCPA, and do not call lists, including those of your market center and state. If you have any questions or concerned about this, please consult your market center or attorney to ensure compliance. Also check any market center and state do not call lists. Refer to the guidelines in your participant guide for more details. These guidelines are for your protection as well as the protection of your clients. You want to subscribe to the registry. And then we have a list as a market center because sometimes people will call and say, hey, we're getting calls from your market center, stop calling us. I'll tell you when this happens the most. We tend to have this happen during bold because a lot of people are out making calls. So that's usually when all of a sudden you'll get from the market center, do not call the person who lives at 123 Main Street kind of thing. So it's just, if you're calling, you want to be checking the lists. And then honor when somebody says not to contact them, make sure you mark it and do not contact them. If they've gotten a little bit like, I don't want anyone from your office calling me, let the office know that so that we can tell the office as a whole not to call. But that's the biggest, I mean, that's really the biggest thing. It's just, it's there to protect people who don't want to hear from us. So making sure that the people we're reaching out to are okay with it. All right, powerful conversations. So one of the things, going through and doing the daily success system means we're talking to people every day. So when we talk about powerful conversations, these are ones that actually, we know that our language matters. So this is why we do scripts, because it's not always what you say, it's how you say it. It's the inflection. It's using this word instead of this word. So the reason we don't call them now. What do we call them? We don't call them scripts now. We call them dialogues. We call them something else. We've got a few things for them. It's learning it so that then you can internalize it and use it in your own words. When you've done role plays and scripting long enough, you will be somewhere and you'll start talking and you'll be like, oh my goodness, I didn't even think. I just said that script and it was like my words. Now, there's the in-between of when you're saying it and you're going, okay, I know there's another word after this and I can't remember what it is. So the more you practice with people in scripts and role plays, the more you're not practicing on the public. And the more you don't sound like a telemarketer. I am reading from a script. How are you today? Nobody wants a conversation like that. So by the practice, we internalize it and they become just our language. And I will tell you, in Keller Williams, it's so funny. There are so many things that are just part of how I speak now. And there's times where I catch myself and I'm like, you sound like a walking, talking billboard for Keller Williams because you've done it for so long. It's just in there. So this is why we practice. Practicing also gives you confidence. When you know it, when you feel solid in what you're saying, you walk in with more of that, like, I'm good to go. All right, do you guys have like, can you give me maybe 5 more minutes, maybe 10? Okay. So I don't want to leave you like, well, sorry, we're not done. So then looking at, these are just some phraseologies. So when you look at these phrases, did you find everything you were looking for? Go ahead, look around, and please let me know if I can help you. I see you admiring that big screen TV. Are you looking to get one for the big game this weekend? Most of you have heard phrases like that, right? Almost every store we walk into. They're known as sales phrases. And one of the things that these do is they open up the conversation. They don't close it. The other thing I would say in these, anytime you're working in a conversation, having a conversation that does not ask open-ended open-ended questions. So did you find everything you were looking for? Is fine. That's typically when you're checking out, but what else can I help you find? That brings them in. That's sort of, when you walk into a store and they say, can I help you? Most of us automatically say no. Even if we came in looking for one thing and we don't know where it is, there's something about when somebody asks that, we go, no, leave us alone. Then 5 minutes later, we're hunting that same person down going, hey, can you help me find X, Y, or Z? But for some reason, that initial is a no. So remember that that's human behavior, especially like when you're doing an open house. Because somebody initially, when they walk in, their defenses are kind of up the same way that yours are when you come into a store. After they've had a chance to kind of chat with you, to look at the house, their defensive have come down a little bit more. You oftentimes are more likely to get them into a meaningful conversation as they're wrapping up than when they're coming in. And it depends. Some people are just chatty and they jump in like that. So, but having a list of kind of the things you want to use and your target kind of conversation starters are a really good thing to have. Like, what are some of the things you want to say when you're moving, when you're doing an open house, when you're in line at the grocery store, like having little phrases that you put in your head. So you're like, oh, this is an opportunity. Let me go through my Rolodex in my brain. Oh, I can pull that one out. And that's just from practice. So that's why coming to Script Mastery is such a great thing to do. Any questions on any of this? Okay. All right, sphere. The first place we're going to start in Ignite and with anything is talking to your sphere, and your sphere is people you know. They're people that already know you, like you, and trust you. And in general, we like to do business with people we know, like, and trust. So it also is one of the places where I see new agents being more hesitant to reach out. Now, your sphere wants you to succeed. Some of your sphere also remembers when you were 10 years old and you stuck something up your nose and had to end up in the emergency room. So there's that balancing act between sphere. And so some of the people who really know you may take a little convincing. They're like, yeah, this is the 5th business you've started. Let me see where it goes. So know that, but you're going to show them anyways. So they also, though, those people who were there when you stuck the thing up your nose are also the people that love you the most. They're the people that want you to succeed. So the other thing to remember is every person that you know knows at least 5 people on average that will buy or sell a home this year. So for every 10 people you put into your database, that's 50 potential transactions. So if you think about that, we're supposed to be adding 10 people to our database daily. We're adding the potential with each 10 of 50 transactions. So when you get up to 100, in that 100 people, they should know 500 buyers or sellers. You just need a little small fraction of that to be a pretty successful agent. But we've got to be consistent in our marketing. Lotta, you totally froze. Okay, are you back? There you go. So my other question is, would you rather do business with people that you know and that know you, or would you rather work with a cold market?
I've had 3 transactions. Well, okay, I've had 2 completed transactions and I have one that's on the way. And all 3 of them, it was my niece and her husband, was my daughter and her husband, and it's my other niece and her husband.
Yep. Exactly.
So people talk about sphere. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Very much so. And then I've got in here National Association of Realtors, 66% of sellers and 41% of buyers found their agent through a friend, neighbor, or relative, or they used an agent they've worked with before. That's sphere.
Wow.
Most people, if we can get between 500 and 1,000 people in our database and stay consistent in contact with them, have more business than they know what to do with. Notice I said stay in contact with them consistently though, because that tends to be where we fall down. We may get all those people in there, but then all of a sudden we look up and Aunt Sally, we haven't talked to Aunt Sally in a year. And so we missed out on the 5 people that Aunt Sally might have had to refer to us. So that's why using command and using smart plans and being consistent in that is so important. And then what you're going to see on page 1.18 is an activity to kind of, it's a memory jogger. And the questions are, who do you know that's going through a life event that might lead to a move? Who does not know yet that you're a real estate agent? That's a big one. You don't want to forget and not tell somebody and then have them come to you and say, guess what? I just bought a house. And you're like, oh, I was going to call them next week and let them know I was in real estate. Get it out there. You want everyone in the world to know you're in real estate. And then finally, who have you not spoken to in the last 2 weeks? So this is get those people, get consistent in following up. In general, on a quarterly basis, you want to have spoken with every single person in your database. So that means 4 times a year, they're talking to you or meeting with you in person. All right, catch your sphere on the move. So this goes back to talking about the time frames. So and this is also about why it's so important to stay consistent. If we know somebody's going to sell every 7 to 10 years, and we only call them in years and 11 months, and they haven't heard from us since we sold them the house, that doesn't feel good. But if we've been consistently touching base with them, checking in with them across those 7 years, when we call them in year 7 and they say we're ready to sell our house, it's just a natural progression. So every time you talk to them isn't about, do you want to buy or sell? It's about, how can I help you? What do you need? Is there any work you need done on your house? And you can always throw in there, hey, who do you know that's thinking about buying or selling? Never too busy for any of your referrals. That right there is the one line that in an hour-long conversation, if you get that line in, you've mastered a script. It's about connecting with them and then about making sure they remember, hey, I'm out here. It's about, how do I serve them? The more you serve, the more it comes. So remembering that with your people. So staying in contact with them. This again is looking at, okay, who has recently moved in your life? And knowing that and realizing, okay, if they just moved, if they bought, they're likely to be 7 to 10 years out. So they're on a drip. Who might be thinking of moving soon? Some of those is who's had life changes or who's going to have life changes. Think about those people. That's who's might be thinking of moving. And then who's somewhere in the middle. So again, these are memory joggers. And it's also kind of saying, where are these people? Oh, these people, first time buyers, they tend to move sooner than the 7 to 10 years. So, these people bought their first home 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Oh man, they've got a ton of equity now. They may be somebody who's thinking about moving. So remembering to stay on that. All right, home stretch, almost done. And then forward. So this is when you're talking, these are the things you talk about to anyone, honestly, but mainly with your, with your sphere: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So this is what's important to them. Notice nowhere in there am I saying, are you buying a house? Hey, what's going on with your family? Oh, I just saw Johnny on Facebook and he won the soccer championship. That's awesome. Did you go out and celebrate? Like those kinds of things. It's connecting with them. So these, remember, I'm going to call them, and today I'm focused on, I'm going to check in with people and just see what's going on. Family, that's relationships. So, if you called me, you'd be asking how my boyfriend's doing. How's my dog? Occupation, what's going on in your job? Or maybe you have clients that are in Intel and you've heard, hey, they've done layoffs, just checking, saying, hey, I heard there's been layoffs at Intel. How are you doing? Is everything okay? By having those conversations along the way, then asking about business later, it's just normal. They're going to check in with you. This is a reciprocity. When you call someone and you're asking about these things, they're going to ask the same thing. They're going to say, how are you doing? How's business? How's the market? It opens the door for the conversation. So this is something that if we had more time, we would role play, but we don't. So we're wrapping up. I want to hear ahas real quick, just in general. What are you taking away from today? Because we covered a lot of ground.
Just basically that it never hurts to reach out in any way, shape, or form. I mean, like you said, it doesn't have to be business, but definitely make someone know, hey, I'm aware of what's going on with you. I'm here, like I'm here if you need anything. I might not solve your problems, but I might know someone who can.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, you can always like the shift in mindset for me that helped, because I'll tell you guys, I hate the phone with a passion. But the shift in mindset for me was, if I am calling and I am coming from contribution, how can I serve this person? Not about me. How do I serve them? If I call and serve them and don't worry about what I'm going to get out of it, the conversation flows, and that's when there's a connection. The connection is what we're looking for. The connection is the cement that brings the referrals. Not calling up and being like, hey, hi, how you doing? I'm a used car salesman. That doesn't bring. It's the connection. So we're striving to serve and connect. The more we do, Zig Ziglar has the quote, and I'm going to slaughter it, but it's essentially, the more you help people get what they want, the more you get what you want. And it's true. So that's what we're doing when we're contacting our sphere is pouring into that. And then the last thing I want to go over real quick is kind of what today is a little bit unique because you're just starting out in Ignite. So now what we're talking about is, what does the daily success system look like? So for your daily success, you're looking at doing 20 minutes of role play or scripting. You're looking at, it takes you about 10 minutes to prepare your call list and go, okay, these are the people I'm going to reach out to on a daily basis. 45 minutes of lead gen, contacting people, and then 30 minutes of updating your database with any of the information. This is what you want to do consistently every day. Every day. Now, more of any of it would be great. This is kind of the bare minimum. And then if you haven't already, which I believe from listening to both of you both have, but make sure that you've got access to Connect and Command, because that will come up throughout Ignite. So those really are, that's kind of your prepping for your next session. So you're going to take that and start going, okay, I'm doing my role play. I'm doing my lead gen. So really what you're looking at is you've got about 20 minutes of role play, and then you've got a little over about an hour and 45 minutes of prepping for your calls, making your calls, and updating your database. So if you take all of that together, and it's about 2 hours. And that's your 20%. So with that, I will take any ahas or any questions, and that will wrap up.
So much to process right this minute.
This class is one of the classes that there is so much content. This one is actually supposed to be 3 hours.
Whew. Yeah,
which is why I was like, oh my goodness.
I definitely missed this class the first time around. So I feel good now that, like, all right. I missed the foundation basically when I was trying to take
it helps lay out, oh, this is why I'm doing it. This is how I'm doing it, all those pieces. So yeah, totally. Any questions, anything that I can do to support you?
Not right this second.
All right. Well, ladies, I appreciate you showing up and playing with me, because it would have been a really long class if I just had to teach it and have it be recorded.
God, that would have been awful.
Yes, it would have.
Awful.
Initially, I was kind of thinking that. I'm like, what happens if you throw a party and nobody shows up? I'm about to find out. So thank you for joining me. And I'm always here as a support. So just reach out. And if you want to send me after you've done your income breakdown, you can do that. My email is jennifer@jenniferseidelman.com. And I'll review that and just see if there's anything where I'm like, you might want to tweak that or anything like that. So, all right.
Thank you so much.
Have a fantastic rest of your day.
You
And,
too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.